Okay, for Unit 4, Day 1's warm-up, we're going to look at the unit circle. However, back in the beginning of the year, we only looked at it with degrees. Now we're going to go ahead and phase it over to radians. So as a reminder here, on the right side of the unit circle is 0 radians. We got pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2. If we go all the way around, we end up at 2 pi. Okay, so again, these are going to be on your axes, so the ordered pairs are actually really easy. You have 1, 0 over here, so you went to the right 1, up and down nothing. Over here, you didn't go left or right, so your x value is 0, but you did go up 1. On the left side, you went to the left 1, didn't go up or down, so that's why it's 0. On the bottom at 3 pi over 2, you went down 1, left or right nothing, so that's why it's 0, negative 1. Okay. Now these three in your first quadrant are going to be the three angles from your reference angle chart. So you have pi over 6, pi over 4, and pi over 3. And the ordered pairs are coming from the rest of the chart. So remember, your x value is cosine, your y value is sine. Okay. So cosine of pi over 6 is root 3 over 2. Sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. Cosine and sine of pi over 4, they're both root 2 over 2. Okay. And cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. And root 3 over 2. Okay. The second quadrant is pretty much the mirror image of the right. So we're going to go ahead and pretty much copy the ordered pairs over. Okay. You can do that because all the reference angles are the same. So like this one here, the reference angle is pi over 6. So if I had a full half circle, it would be 6 pi over 6 minus 1 pi over 6 would give me 5 pi over 6. Okay, now what you want to do is take a look at the ordered pair. It would not make sense for this to be a positive x value, so we're going to make it a negative. Okay, because you're on the left side of the x-axis, which are the negative x values. So that would also make all of these negative. Okay, this one in the middle, the reference angle is pi over 4, so 4 pi over 4 minus 1 pi over 4 gives me 3 pi over 4. This last one up here, the reference angle is pi over 3, so I'm going to have 2 pi over 3. 3 pi over 3 minus 1 would give me 2. Okay, the third quadrant, same idea. Okay, so this first angle that you come up to has a reference angle of pi over 6, so 6 pi over 6 plus 1 pi over 6 gives me 7 pi over 6. The ordered pair is pretty much the same, but remember this is on the left side of the x-axis and it's also on the negative side of the y-axis. Okay. The ordered pair for our reference angle 45 degrees again is root 2 over 2. They're both negative. Okay, so we have 4 pi over 4 plus 1 more would be 5 pi over 4. Okay. Over here, we're going to have a reference angle of pi over 3. So 3 pi over 3 plus 1 more would be 4 pi over 3. Okay, and our ordered pair again. Same thing, but they're both going to be negative. Okay. If we look at the fourth quadrant, remember, all student state calculus tells us only the cosine is going to be positive. So all of our x values are going to be positive, while all of our y values are negative. Okay, so this angle over here on the bottom right is going to be the same reference angle as pi over 3. So if a full circle is 2 pi or 6 pi over 3, I take away 1, this is going to be 5 pi over 3. Alright, so ordered pairs, same idea there. Okay, next one is over 4. Okay, so 8 minus 1 gives me 7 pi over 4, root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. And lastly, this one has a reference angle of pi over 6, so 12 pi over 6 minus 1 gives me 11 pi over 6. And my ordered pair would be root 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. Okay, so once we have that completed, we're going to take a look at the bottom side. 1 through 4, you're just evaluating. So first one's cosine of 0. So you go to the angle of 0, cosine again into your x value, it's equal to 1. Okay, sine of 4 pi over 3, so go to 4 pi over 3. Sine is your y value, so negative root 3 over 2. So you guys are going to try this one on your own and check answers on Blackboard. When you get to secant, remember, secant is 1 over cosine, and my angle is pi over 3. So I'm going to take a look at pi over 3. The cosine is 1/2. So I need to flip it since secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So it's going to be 2 over 1. Final answer is 2. You guys are going to try cosecant of 5 pi over 3 on your own. 7 through 10, this is where you're trying to find the angle measurement. So sine of an angle measurement is equal to 1/2. They're asking you what is that angle measurement. So sine is your y value. You're going to have to go around, take a look. Pi over 6 has a y value of 1/2, as well as 5 pi over 6. The other angles over 6, 11, and 7 have a negative 1/2, so those wouldn't work out. So my two answers for number 7 would be 1 pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. Okay, so you're going to do something very similar for 8, 9, and 10, and then check your answers on Blackboard.